Hello, it's Krystine, the Beauty Pro coach, and you're listening to the Beauty Pro podcast. And I am here with Towanna Dunn of New Jersey. She is so fabulous and so glam. She's all about hair extensions. She's a Jersey girl, and she's gonna tell you more. So, hey, Towanna, how are you?
Hello, love. How are you?
I am so
Thank you
good.
so much for having me on your amazing platform.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm really excited about this
So am I.
chat.
So am I. We've been talking about this for like a year.
I
And then
know.
I think it was like January where we were like, we need to do something. And then I
Wow.
dropped the ball over the summer. I totally messed up my schedule. So here we are at perfect timing. The universe
It's
brings us together when we're supposed to be together. So it's all good.
exactly, but it's been a year.
Hmm.
Oh my
Around
Lord.
January that we kind of uh I don't know who reached out to who first, but I think it was probably around January, maybe December,
Oh
that we
my
first kind of linked
gosh.
up and was like, we need to do something. Wasn't that around, weren't you starting it around that time?
I think so. Like, yeah,
Right.
I was like getting really like more into the online space.
Yes.
So, wow, time flies. Holy
Yeah.
cow. Okay. So, anyway, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, who you impact.
I am Tawana Dunn. I am a suite owner. Presently, I just came up on my 3-year anniversary. I did
Oh,
open right after COVID,
mm,
but I have been in the industry. I mean, you date yourself. I At this point I don't even remember. Like I went right after high school. I graduated in 95. So
okay.
I've been here for a minute, you know what I mean?
Mhm,
I worked in a couple of different high-end salons in New Jersey early
mhm,
in my career. I worked in a salon that owned a distributorship. So they had multiple different companies and tried to use a lot of their stylists as educators for those companies. So
mhm.
I fell into teaching hair extension. So I taught hair extensions for the distributorship under 3 different hair extension companies. Um,
Whoa,
over
that's
probably a
cool.
course of 6 or 7 years before I decided to branch out and start my own uh, educational platform, which is probably around everybody at the time. Everybody was kind of doing their freelance thing, and it was like,
Yeah.
all right, so I can kind of teach my own thing without really having a backing of a brand. And I've never looked back, and I'm so happy I made that decision.
That is such a cool, how do I say it? Like opportunity that just came to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was very fortunate in the salon that I first started working with early in my career. Like I said, those had them being a distributorship. I got a lot of classes for free, even with cut and color early in my career. I wouldn't have to pay those big chunks of classes and or money for classes. And not only that, I was able to do. I did a lot of years of New York Fashion Week,
Mm,
which when I tell you is like a you can't purchase that type of a lot of
mhm.
people actually do New York Fashion Week free. I was fortunate enough where I work with a company that paid us to be there, but you were probably getting paid to park. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
Manhattan,
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
were
It's
food
true.
and you were getting paid to park. But a lot of people would just easily do it for free because it was such an
Mhm.
amazing environment to be in. So my early career, I'm very thankful to the salon and the company that I worked for because they had a lot of opportunities. And I know a lot of stylists, and especially Black stylists don't get the opportunity to do.
Really? Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, there's all I think that we found out over COVID that
Mhm,
our our industry is as segregated as it
mhm.
was, not
Right.
realizing it. You know what I mean? So I've
Yeah.
always been the only Black stylist in the salons I've worked in prior to
Mhm,
opening. So I probably worked in one salon for 12 years and another salon for 5 years. And I think as I was going, there might have been Black assistants coming in, but
mm,
stylist wise, during the time I was a stylist, I was the only one there. And at the same time, that allowed me to grow the diverse clientele that I have. You know
mm,
what I mean? So I know that
mhm.
that can be an awkward situation, but if you sometimes we step out of ourselves and step out of our own ego, you can take the opportunity not only to learn from a different culture, but to teach as well.
See, that's so amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So,
Yeah,
since we're on that topic,
yeah.
so you said that it could be a little awkward, but you take that and you learn about other cultures, you teach, you educate. Just kind of share a little bit about you're the awkwardness, like what happens that it's awkward, and then how do you transform that into an educational opportunity? Like recreate a situation right now. Like
I
how
mean,
does that work?
I worked in an area in New Jersey that was very expensive, I guess,
Mhm.
area in New Jersey. I didn't live over there. I
Okay.
was probably about 30 minutes away, but I drove to that area, and there was, you don't always service people that have the same political views, the
Mhm.
same religious views as you. I was fortunate enough, though, in my background to grow up around a bunch of different religions. You don't realize the journey you're being taken to until you
Mm.
have to use the things that you kind of grew up with. My
Yeah.
father, I grew up going to, my mother's family was Jehovah Witness, my father's family was the Baptist. I grew up going to both churches. I went to Catholic school. And
Mhm.
then when I turned 13, my father joined Islam.
So you're all over the place.
I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place. But that what that did, and I didn't realize, is show me too that everybody's passionate in their belief. No
Mhm.
one's wrong for their belief. The wrong comes in, I think, when you try to convince others that they're what they believe is wrong. So if you would just listen to other people's um, way of life, 9 times out of 10, because people don't feel heard, they
Mhm.
will then listen to your way of life and not realize that there's something relatable there, or a stereotype that they might have had might not be true because they might not had somebody to explain that to them. And that's gone both ways. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I value the diversity that I have in my clientele, because I, for one, don't like talking about the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? And when you're
Mhm.
constantly servicing people that look exactly like you, sometimes you can get repetitive talking the same gossip thing over again, over and over again.
Yeah.
Or what's the fun in talking to somebody who agrees with you all the time?
Yeah.
Let's reach out a little bit. My dad, I was not a I said I was never a cosmetologist, a Cosmo Vogue, what's going on in Elle
Oh,
magazine
got you.
style.
Uh-huh.
I was always like, did you see CNN? What the heck is going on with that? So for me, it was the stuff they told us not to talk about in Cosmo,
Right.
and that you don't realize that. Like I said, I worked in an area where a lot of people did not have access, but in their life personally, they didn't have somebody as close to touching them that
Mm.
looked like me. So they might
Mhm.
feel comfortable to ask me certain questions that they've always wondered. You know what I mean? And the same thing with
Right.
me. I'm like, well, I thought that in your religion or in that, I heard this. You know what I mean? And it was like, no, well, it's not that. And they would just explain it to me more. And we would just, you break down that wall. You know what I mean? And I have a lot of long-term clients for years that do not vote the way I do, that are not the same religion as me. And I don't have a religion. You know what I mean? I love
Mhm.
God and universe and sun, moon, and stars.
Sure.
As long as you pray amongst your own self, it's
Sure.
nobody's business, in my opinion. And then to other people, they feel like you must do it out loud, and that's okay. So as long as we agree to disagree, we could solve a lot of problems if everybody could just not try to convince everybody their way is the way, just have grace for their opinion.
I love where this is going. I was not
Yeah,
expecting this. This
I
is
wasn't
great.
expecting it at
This
all.
is great.
I'm like, so extensions.
Which we are going to get to. But let's just like since we're here, like yeah,
Yeah,
we grow up in the industry being taught, no, you don't talk about politics, religion, sex, money. Like you just don't talk about those controversial topics. But it sounds like
that's our world.
right. It sounds like
That's our world.
sometimes we kind of got to bend the rules a little bit in
Yeah,
order to have like a specific little niche,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like
And
that's what you're making money and not and talking about all the no things.
yeah.
So,
Well, we're also talking about our kids, and our kids are growing up in different ways that we didn't grow up. And it's like we're having these different things that come to the table, and you don't have anybody else to talk to. Your hairstylist has always been your therapist. You know what I mean? So you realize that you have so much more in common. So much once you get past the surface of the BS, you have so much more in common when it comes to just being a human.
mhm.
Yeah, so I wouldn't change the diversity of my clientele for anything. And then it also just allowed me to be not scared to touch all textures. And
Mm,
as hairstylists, we get pigeonholed.
mm.
And in cosmetology school, we all were taught to make hair straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to make hair straight, and that was it. We weren't taught about working with and learning different textures and how those different textures can be changed into other other textures, and how you can blend them all together. And so I appreciate my earlier years of working with a different clientele because it kind of allowed me to dive in and not be scared of awkward moments. And I don't really have a lot of awkward moments with any of my clients.
Okay, good. So like, have you ever had a moment where like you're, a client gets offended, or because we're talking about all the things we're not supposed to. Have you ever
Yeah.
had like a moment where one client starts arguing with another client, or it's just like
Oh
really
no.
tense?
No, I've always worked in a salon environment where that's just not a thing. Like,
Okay.
literally, that's not a thing. People have been let go
Mm,
for starting, you know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
a your demeanor was more important than your talent in the places that I worked. So if you brought a
Mhm.
negative attitude, you can take your clients and your talent and go somewhere else. So no, that was never an issue that I came across. And now that I've been in the suite for 3 years, my clients love it because they can really, like, before, I
Okay.
will say this, in my other salons, when you got somebody sitting to the left and to the right and we're having a
Mhm.
conversation that might be touchy, we might be like, so you think this?
Okay.
Salon there, we don't have to do that now. You know what I mean? So if anything,
Yeah.
it's a more free environment because I'm in the suite.
Yeah. Okay. So really quickly, let's talk more about you now. Like, what has been some, it could be personal or professional, failures or just hard times that you yourself have had to overcome to
Mm.
get to where you are now?
Whew. I know that when I had first, sometimes when you're working somewhere for a long time and you become stagnant, you get the question of should you leave and should you not.
Mhm.
And I had kind of jumped ship and went to a new salon, not a new salon that was new, but went to work at
Right.
a salon that I thought was going to be one thing and was
Mhm.
not. So it was like a lot of promises, and then
Mhm.
it wasn't. And then you're seeing maybe not as many clients come over as they said they would. You know
Mm,
what I mean? The bookings aren't there as much. I'm sitting on my cell phone, I'm scrolling a lot more.
right.
And then you get into that seeing other people posting all their work, and you're like, I don't even have work to post. And I actually got to a point where I remember talking to a friend in my car, like crying in my car, like, dude,
Mhm.
I got like one blow dry booked every day this week. I just had my son. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
this is crazy. How am I going to do this? I think I'm going to have to leave the industry. And you know how kind of Siri listens to
mm.
you?
Yes.
To you? And I don't care what anybody says, Siri is like the biggest, Siri listens to everything you say. And I think
Yeah.
like 2 days later, I saw an ad on my Facebook page for a coach for a business.
Oh,
And
I
I
love it.
remember thinking, like, it literally was like the business coach ad was saying, "Do you da 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 da?" And it was like everything that I was saying in the car with my friend. And I was like, this is crazy that this, you know what I mean, that this popped up right here. And I remember probably going home for about a week and sitting on the fact that I don't have the $59 a month for this.
Mm,
I'm doing one blow dry a day. I'm barely getting this to work, you know what I mean? But
right.
it was a point in my career where it was like, shit or get off the pot. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
can we curse? I apologize.
Yes, it's okay, baby.
Um,
This is a
I've been trying to
real
work on my,
this is a real and raw
yeah,
podcast,
I've been trying to work on
okay?
my vocabulary.
You're
But
good.
it really was you can't afford not to pay for this.
Mhm.
So it was a point that I bet on myself, probably for the first time, not knowing the outcome. Me being a Virgo, I have to do the
Mm.
math and know the outcome. And things weren't working out for me doing the math, knowing the outcome. So it was like, I don't know if you ever watched, I'm a big Seinfeld fan. I don't know if you ever
Yes,
watched,
of course.
and he says, do you remember opposite? He's like, you know what?
Yeah,
Nothing's working in my life. I have to do
yeah,
the opposite. And I'm
yeah.
like, you know what? I can't keep saying I don't have the money. I don't have this. I don't have that. What I have to tell myself is that it's going to come. Eventually, it's
Yes.
going to come. If I believe in myself, it's going to do it. I just have to do one more of this, or I just
Mhm.
have to promote myself a little more as an educator, or so I just kind of
Yeah.
bet on myself, and it was the absolute best decision that I made was probably getting a business coach at that time that I was about to leave the industry. It
Mhm.
was like I said, should have get off the pot. And they just really allowed me to realize that we weren't taught certain things. I'm 46 years old. I've been in this industry for over 20 years. And social media wasn't a thing.
Mm-mm.
Passing your cards out, passing out flyers. Word of mouth was a thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in that time that I went from one salon to another, that completely died. So you had, since I wasn't being fed the way I was used to being fed, I
Mm-hmm.
had to figure out a way to get butts in the chair. And the only way to do that, sometimes you just have to, you can't YouTube everything. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just have to put down the money and pay for whatever it is that you need to learn, whatever, because we live in this information world where there is no excuse. I don't care if you didn't go to college. There is no excuse not to learn everything you need to know. And I felt like I was making excuses for myself, but it was like, all right, now what? You have nobody else. You can't say this place is not booking you. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? What are you gonna do to make sure your career soars? And I bet on myself, and I um did that, and I'm still in that program. And I think that that's probably one of the best things you can do, especially as a solo person.
Yeah.
There's so many jobs on the table, because even with me getting this business coach, I got this business coach before I opened. And
Mm-hmm.
after I opened, I was like, I think I need to start this program all over again, because I started it from the mind of a employee, and then I'm going into the mind of a owner, and I just had to look at everything again. And there were little nuances and little things that I had to tweak that went that benefited my salon more, and that maybe I didn't have to worry about as an employee.
That is such an important point that you just mentioned of I was looking at things and looking at it from an employee's mind, and I had to redo it from an owner's mind.
Yeah.
How do you for you personally, do you feel like that shift was like a huge like twist, or you were just like, "Oh, okay, I can just adjust this and I'll be fine."
You know what? I think that I had the benefit of going from the starting of going from a employee mind to a salon owner mind through the pandemic. So I
Mm.
didn't have to get up and go to work. I got to order my stuff, plan out my menu, write out my
Oh.
do my website with 2.5 months off, which a lot of nobody gets to do. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So it probably wasn't until if I opened in October and I am slammed, it probably wasn't until March that I was like, I'm operating my salon suite as an employee,
Yeah.
and I need to do things a little bit different because I'm starting to get overwhelmed. So it probably took a couple months after I got in to realize that even though I knew, thank God I had this information, I still had to tweak some things and do it a little bit differently. Because at the end of the day, what we don't realize is when we're an employee, we're doing hair. When you're an owner, especially when you're a suite owner, you're doing hair, you're booking the clients, you're ordering the product, you're folding the towels, you know what I mean? You're cleaning the salon, you're emailing the guests about their experience after, you're sending out the newsletters. I've had a virtual assistant probably for about a year, a little over a year now. Not the same one. It took a little
Okay.
while. Oh my God, you're gonna have to kiss some frogs before you get to the right one. That's
It's
a
so
whole
true. It's
other-
so
like, I
true.
got people. I'm seeing people are like, "You gonna hire somebody to work in your suite?" I'm like, hire a person in live. I can barely hire live. I have to hire somebody just to answer my emails. I can't even imagine how it is to manage a person. But I thank God for her, because she just it's a lot, and you don't realize it until you get into the thick of it that it is a lot. At the same time, I would not change anything for the world.
Mm-mm.
It was the best decision I ever made,
And why? Why wouldn't you change anything?
because at the end of the day, I'm in control of what the results are. Like I said, I think a big you sometimes when you're stagnant in a salon, you can blame the owner.
Yeah.
You can say, oh, well, they're not promoting me. Oh, well, you know what I mean? This is that, or, you know what I mean? The prices are this, or they need to be this. But when it's all on you, you are to blame for everything. So if there's no two stroke zero, it's all on you.
Uh-huh.
If your client that you know loves that deep conditioner and you don't have it in the salon when she comes in, that's all on you that you might have missed a sale. So everything is on you. And there's certain part of me that does like that pressure, you know what I mean? And don't think that I haven't had times of crying in the corner, thinking, what am I doing? But at the same time, I know that I didn't feel as fulfilled working for other people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I mean, that's what it is. It's almost
Yeah,
like it's almost like you don't know about yourself until yourself is the only option you have. Does that make sense?
absolutely. 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 You don't know what you can do until you are pushed to do it.
Hmm. So what, okay, so that was then, right? What is something that you're struggling with right now? Now that you've overcome all of that, now that you know who you are, you know what you can offer, you know what you give. What is something that you're going through right now that's just you're struggling with, you're it's overwhelming you, whatever. What is it?
Oh, something I am going through right now probably is balancing um being pulled in two different directions of
Mm,
should I be spending more time building my clientele or spending more time promoting my educational platform. And I really am being pulled towards the educational platform. I'm actually
mm.
in the process of changing my ebook into a course.
Oh,
I've
cool.
been talking about that probably for about a year. And ironically enough, I just got another course to teach me how to do the course because I
You
realized that
see?
I had a blocker and that blocker was preventing me from going into my North Star and what I really needed to do. So again, doubling down on myself
Yep.
and saying, if we're gonna pick a side, we gotta really commit to the side. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I feel like I have a strong enough clientele base right now where I can lean in, and I still have the new clients coming in. But right now, I think for the past couple months, it's almost been a non-movement because you're
Mm,
like, what do you do? You know what I mean? And
yeah.
then you get into the imposter syndrome where you're worrying about who else is doing it and is it too much and is it going to sell? And it's like, you know what? If it's in your heart, just do it. And the universe is going to let it fall where it may. And
Mhm.
the success of it is not going to be any way that you think it's going to be. But if your heart is into it and you believe that it is going to be valuable, which I do, especially with me realizing that one of the people that I'm really starting to lean into more is the cosmetology student, because that's something again that I've always said that my ebook was the chapter on hair extensions that was missing in cosmetology
Yeah.
school. It's a general application on keratin tips, eye tips, micro loops, micro links, tape ends, and sewing wefts with beads. General for anybody to be able to learn. So if you're a stylist or a cosmetology student and you just want to learn, get your mannequin, go to Sally's, grab some hair, and you can just practice on my method. Screw the brands. I can care less who made the hair.
Mhm.
Every single keratin tip on the planet is applied a certain way. This is how you do it. Now, if you want to expand on that and do a like we all take elevated haircutting classes and elevated and volley
Mhm.
color classes. That's all great for our industry. Then we need that. But in general, we pay to get a license to learn how to do everything in hair. This stuff should have been included. So that's where mine is coming from. Knowing how extensions are, though, a lot of us are a hands-on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in growing on the ebook and making that a manual as well as a manual for cosmetology students, but also a reference guide for people that are in the industry that maybe you do two hair extension methods, but you want to kind of branch out and
Mhm.
do a couple more, but you don't have time and you don't know which brand to pick. And you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, you know what, just learn how to do put it in, pick the best hair leader. You know what I mean? So I've been leaning in more on that, but that was probably something that I was struggling over the past couple months is exactly how far to lean into it. And I'm in it now. I'm leaned. I'm all the way in, you know?
I'm leaned. I love
I'm
that.
all the way in. That's right.
So what did you discover was the block? Was it fear?
I think self-doubt and imposter syndrome. This, I think that we are all, and it's like I hate buzzwords, but they are what they are. Social media burnout is a thing.
Mhm.
So, being somebody who is a creator that puts out a lot of content on social media, I found myself trying to not unfollow, but not always watch people that do what I do
Yeah.
because you feel like you're getting motivated, but at the end of the day, you had that thought 3 weeks ago, you just didn't do it, and then she did
Yes.
it. So you're like, should I do it now? But you don't realize it's a different set of eyes looking at you. So you don't have to do the same thing, but when we do that, we feel like we're copying. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Things of that nature, and then we also are flooded. Digital education is flooded right now, but it's flooded because we want it. We
Mm.
want it. You know what I mean? So don't say, well, it's almost like somebody wants to open a shoe store, but there's a Foot Locker over here and there's a what's the face over here. Are you not going to follow your dream and become a shoe store? Just open a shoe store and do the best you can with your shoe store and know who you're selling to, know how unique you are over Foot Locker and you know what I mean, and Dick's as far as shoes
Yes.
you sell. But we can all sell shoes. We can all do it.
I love that you said that. It's over flooded because, especially with social media, especially
Yeah.
because Siri hears everything. Like, you're gonna seem like it's over flooded because that's your
They're
desire.
listening to your phone and then they're putting it in front of you, but other people aren't seeing all that.
Right.
We got to realize as hairstylists, other people's feed aren't flooded with before and after hairs like ours are. Because if we really look, 50 to 60% of the people that we're following are in their industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's
Mm.
not, we can't go off of, well, nobody wants to see this again. That's a small percentage of your people. The other people do want to see that again. So lean in on whatever that is that you're really good at, because sometimes we can feel like we're being repetitive. And here's the thing, sometimes it takes some people 10 or 20 times hearing you say something to know you're expert on it and then want to come
Yeah.
in and call and invest in you. So just let's step away from the fear of sounding like everybody else or doing what everybody else is doing and just do you.
Yeah, and we've said it a couple times. Like, it's been a year of us talking to get on the podcast. It's been a
Yeah.
year of you like trying to figure out which way you want to go. Like, it takes time because we are actually like emotionally and mentally like having this battle before we just get sick of ourselves and we just let me just throw myself at this and see what
Hmm.
happens, you know?
You have to. You have to.
Yeah. Okay, so tell people, me, us, I want to know, about what you have going on, because you have a lot going on.
I do. I have a lot going on. See, when people say tell what you have a lot going on, I feel like you have to see the whole picture. But
Yeah,
I am a wife. I have been married for 20 years. I'm married to a business owner. My husband's a general contractor, and he
I
really
love,
inspired me to start my own business. You know what I mean? I'm
I
watching him
love
doing it,
that.
watching him being successful, watching the pitfalls and ups and downs. And you know what? I want to do that. We have two beautiful children. Have a 14-year-old daughter who just entered high school. Um, and we are waiting this very moment to see if she made the varsity cheer. So that email is probably sitting in there right now. I have
Yes.
a beautiful 6-year-old son who is on the autistic spectrum, who is teaching us how to look at life differently every day, and he
Yeah.
is learning in a beautiful way and growing every day.
Yeah.
And he's funny and he's hilarious. That's my home life. Um,
And
but
I'm happy that you're sharing this because we are in such an intimate business.
mhm,
Our home life impacts us in ways that other professions it doesn't even matter. So thank you for sharing that because I know a lot of stylists, a lot of barbers need to hear that they're not alone with that.
yeah,
You know, like, yeah, we got to leave our personal stuff at home, but some things just it's just what we do. It just becomes who we are.
it's a part of us. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
get up, get kids ready, drop off, get
Right.
makeup done, and jump on here. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
a part of my drive. It's the reason
Yeah.
why when I tell my daughter that you have to know that, oh my God, Tawanna, don't get emotional. You have to know that one of the main reasons I'm opening my salon is because of you. I
Mm.
need you to know that you can do anything. You have to try. And even
Yeah.
if you fail, you will regret it more if you didn't try than if you fail. So I'm
Mhm.
going to try, and I want you to watch me continue to try and know that you can pursue anything that you can. And not that our parents, I think, of a certain generation,
Mhm.
didn't didn't instill that in us. They didn't know that we could accomplish all the things that we
Right.
could accomplish. So they might not have verbally said that. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I just want to make sure
Yes.
that I'm verbally saying it to my kids, even to
Mhm.
my son at night. You can do anything,
Yeah.
anything that you think that you can do. So I that was important for me to get that message to my kids. But as far as the salon and suite,
Mhm.
I am, we're coming up on holiday season right now. So that's just
Mhm.
like a automatic, it's going to be busy over the next 3 or 4 months. I do, however, over the next couple weeks have a couple of events coming up. So I send out once a year. Well, I've done it the last 2 years. I send out a invitation or a letter offering a tape in demo to all hair extension school. I'm sorry, cosmetology schools in New Jersey. I know that when I was in cosmetology school, that was one of the lights of our time, is when you had somebody coming in to show you
Yeah.
something cool, especially with it being It's different when you're coming in showing your hair color because that is being taught in school where the hair extensions are not, and they're so big right now. And as
Yeah.
a salon owner, I do miss assistance. I miss us being asked, well, why are you doing that? Or why are you doing this? Or, you know what I mean? Why are you
Mm,
applying it that way? So I think that cosmetology school is probably not getting the senior floor and practice that we got, and they have to come out knowing more. So
yeah.
getting your hands in and introducing them to something as simple as tape and extensions is something just to that I get to kind of I want to know what they're looking for when they come out of school as someone who's trying to teach them. So let me go into the schools and see exactly where they're at. And then I want to talk to them about owning a suite and about how you're coming into an industry that wasn't there when I came into the industry. So I like to tell them you're starting your career right now. Your social
Mhm.
media, you should have that page built out right now, and it could be separate from your page, but start showing the before and afters even on your mannequins, because those 50 people that are watching you through cosmetology school, 10 of them are going to come to you at your first salon because they've seen your growth. So I talk to them about how they need to start working on their career now, because what we weren't told in cosmetology school is that we are an own individual business. We were
Right.
told to just go work somewhere. But when you went and worked somewhere, you were an individual business, even if you weren't renting a chair, because you had to get the word out and you had to keep the jobs to
Yeah.
keep them coming back in. Even if your salon is feeding you, you still got to get them to come back in. So you
Hmm.
have to promote yourself. So I just talk to them about that and then show them how they can go in to the work environment looking for a job, having this extension knowledge in the back of their head. So, you know what I mean? So I just
Yeah.
like to introduce them to that and let them know that it starts now. It starts in
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not before your senior hours, but if you've got that black jacket, you should probably be at the point where you're posting stuff and you're getting
Yeah.
your name out there and you're looking at salons that you want to assist at and work at.
I love that. All right. So you got the home life
So I
going.
got that going on. I got that classes going on. I'm going to be, I don't know when this is coming out, so this might not be until after. But I'm going to be appearing on a webinar on with my salon suite and hosted by Salon Suites. I mean, sorry, hosted by Modern Salon rather. And I believe the
What? How cool.
November 6th, and it's talking about maximizing your suite profitability. Something to that effect. I'm
Okay.
the title wrong. I'm actually going to pull up the title right now because I think I have it in here. But I'm doing that. I'm also doing another event with my salon suites just for the owners in my salon suite, and that's
Hmm.
going to be again profiting using hair extensions to maximize your time behind the chair. I think that's going to be in November, or maybe the following week, just for the salon suite owner. So if you're a my salon suite owner, that's open to you. Um, I think that's about what I have scheduled as of right now. Like I said, I'm trying to really I have a I think this might be the first time that I'm saying this publicly. Am I
Oh
gonna say
my
this?
God. Am I getting the scoop
I
right
can say
now?
this publicly because I have paperwork on the name, but my course, my ebook, the Universal Hair Extension Bible, is available. It's on all of my links, but it's a 50-page ebook teaching you how to apply these 6 different hair extension applications. We're going
Oh my
into
God.
textured hair, we go into pricing, we go into consultation, blending techniques, and bringing everything all together, client maintenance, ordering hair, we go into all the things. That ebook is being turned into a course.
Oh my
I want
God. How
to
exciting.
more people outside of my area, outside of New Jersey. And I also know that we live in a time where you can't always take a flight to go do a
Mhm.
day course or a 2-day course. But if you can get that at your inbox or sign in somewhere and
Yeah.
do it over 6 weeks, that works better for you. So that is being turned, my ebook is being turned into a course. That course is called the Hair Extension University.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
And the paperwork is already on it, so you have that trademarked. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So
I'm
that
so
I'm hoping
excited.
for a launch of that early 2024, and that's really after I do whatever events that I need to do. That's really where I'm leaning in. The lucky
Yeah,
thing about it being holiday season is all I really do have to worry about is the clients, because I have automation set in to just
sure.
roll out what I do for my holiday season. Like I literally just got my Christmas cards the other day. So that, no, seriously. And you know what I said too, because my assistant is in Florida. I'm like, why did I send these to me? I was supposed to mail these to her, even though she's married to New Jersey. It's still one stamp. Who cares if it's coming from there or there? Like I don't have time.
Sure.
I should have mailed them to her. But that's really what I'll be leaning in, because I'm looking for a launch early January. Early We're launching January 2024. Now, if that's the
I love
first or
that.
the 31st, that's what we're doing.
Okay.
So I'm kind of leaning in. That's what I'm doing for the rest of the year.
And that's so exciting. I cannot wait for that to go live, and because we're going to be telling everybody about that. But I saw on your Instagram that you offer one-to-one, I guess, training on extensions,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
live, like in your suite.
Absolutely. You can book a class with me one-on-one. I can actually do up to two people in my suite. I've done two people classes in my suite, or you can book a virtual class with me. So I've taught classes to people in Hawaii and California. Just doing I have a 1 day class. So all of my classes, this is one of the things that I've always wanted to do as far as setting my class out from other people. I do not teach one method in my class.
That was
Anytime you
my
teach
next question. So you teach
going to
all the
learn
things.
at least two methods. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you are if you want more than two method, it might have to go into a 2 day class. So I have a
Sure.
virtual class and a in-person class that runs 2 days depending on what you do. A 2 day class will go up to usually four methods, because at the end of the day, these techniques really need the ins and outs and the do's and the don'ts and the whys behind them are really important to me. I
Mm-hmm.
come from a line of women with fine hair. I have fine hair on both sides of my family, and I credit myself still having hair and edges to a young braider that I probably had when I was probably about 25, who told me exactly what I could not have in my hair, and if
Mm-hmm.
I kept putting this type of extension in my hair, I'm going to be bald.
Mm.
And I said, that is how I want to show up as a hair extension specialist. I can care
Oh.
less about what you want. I'm going to tell you what is best for your hair. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if after I tell you that the one you came in to talk to me about is the worst thing for your hair, and you say, I want to do it anyway, I am not the stylist for you. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's your consultation feedback. You know what I mean? I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a point of, I'm not here just to make money. I'm here to service people. And a
Right.
lot of the women in my in my family have to wear wigs now because their hairline is so far back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So as someone who doesn't want to do that to somebody else, you know what I mean? That's just where I'm coming from, you know,
Yeah.
as far as just how I want to service my clientele. So I
Yeah.
think
You
this,
just got to be real. Be
and
real with
yeah,
people. Like,
it's, in doing that, I don't want to rush all six into 2 days. You know what I
okay.
mean? That's
Yeah.
so two methods a day normally is just enough for people to feel like they got their content without feeling overwhelmed. I have a lot of stylists that take my classes that this is not their first hair extension class. And I
Mm.
always ask them, why did you take my class? Like you took this method before with
Right.
this brand. Why did you take my class if you just took it? And they all say the same thing. I left that class still with a lot of questions, and I felt like I was being sold hair.
Mm.
Heard that you are just coming from knowledge. That's it. I can care less if you're using Sally's hair or, you know what I mean, a Birkin bag level hair. I can care
Right.
less. Put it in the right way. That's all.
Right. Right. And that is what we need. Oh, Tawana, I am like rooting for you, girl. Like, yes, I am so excited for this.
I am. I'm very excited.
Okay, so just to recap, you can do one-on-one online and in person in your suite. Do you
Yes.
travel to any salons to teach?
Yeah. I travel to salons. I have what so here's the thing, and this is interesting. What I've noticed as a stylist who has educated, I started off educating with a company. So I was always sent
Right.
out to salons, or they would come to the distributorship do class. And what I noticed is that there are not a lot of owners
Uh-huh.
willing to get 5 or 6 people certified anymore. It's more of a stylist reaching out to me saying they want a class and then saying, I have 4 other people in my salon that want to take the class. Those stylists pay for me and then I come to the salon. It's not the owner anymore. That has a lot to do with the lack of stylist loyalty to salons. I can't be mad at the owner. They don't want to invest $1,000 as stylists and you're going to leave them in a year. So as stylists, we have to be cautious of how quickly we jump ship. You know what I mean? It's
Mm,
I like I said, my salons that I worked in for 12 years and I worked in for 5 years. They you had to stay there a certain amount of time if they paid for a class for you because you have to make up those funds.
right.
So you're seeing a lot more individual stylists having to pay for their education and it's not coming with their employment anymore because they're not staying for 5 or 6 years anymore. So I think that's something that we have to look at if you're going to be a stylist working in a salon. Find one that you're going to stay at because you're going to build better and it's going to be a lot better than you bouncing around. Now you can't control whether a salon's environment changes, you know what I mean, and
Hmm.
it's not what you signed up for because I've left the salon for that. But at the same time, don't just jump into the hot salon because that might not be your vibe, that might not be your energy, it might not be as welcoming as you want, and it might not be a place you want to build at for a long term. But it's the employees that are staying with their salon owners for years. Their salon owners paying for their certification. You know, they want to make sure that they're going to get their money back.
Thank you for sharing that because I know like everybody wants to go out and like do what you're doing and be in the independent suites, but there's a lot of like everything's a trade-off, right? You got a lot of pros and you have a lot of cons on either side. You
Yes.
just got to be wise, like be
Yeah.
prudent and have like a plan, a strategy on what you're going to be doing.
Look, I have maybe 1 or 2 friends that I'm like, look, I'm in my salon 3 or 4 days a week. You want to come in and work in my suite and you know what I mean? And we can work something out. And they are like, no, no, because you have people that want to check in and check out. And I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
Oh, I
I had a
see.
lot more time with my family when I was working for somebody. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's not for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a great thing that has entered into our industry. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the weak. I've
Mm-mm.
seen a lot of come and go in my suite. And it's something that you have to stay committed to.
Yeah. Okay, and I saw something else. Sorry, I'm like going back now to
That's okay.
your link. Your Instagram link. You have a like a home care guide, I
Oh my
guess, for your
God. So yeah,
extensions.
I have a couple of digital items available for hairstylists to help build their clientele. One of the biggest things that I harp on is especially over the past couple years, for I've always sent my client home with a do's and don'ts sheet, a maintenance
Yeah.
sheet
Yeah.
for their hair extensions. A lot of extension clients nowadays are changing the method that they might have done before. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Especially you have a lot of textured hair coming into play. So
Mm.
that means you have a whole demographic of people that never got extensions at all because their hair is curly and they didn't want to blow it out straight. They are now getting extensions. So curly girls, how often do they blow dry their hair?
I am one of those. I do once a week. Thank you very much.
But I'm talking about ones that wear it natural.
I know. I
They
like
air dry.
my curls are like crazy curls.
But you're air drying them for the most part. A lot of girls are air drying
Right.
their hair. What happens
Yeah.
when you air dry your extensions? They tangle.
Exactly.
On straight hair, they tangle. Imagine what they do on curly hair.
Oh
You're
my
supposed to
God.
diffuse them. You're supposed to detangle them. There's certain things that you're supposed to do if you're going to wear your extensions curly to match your hair. That's stuff that people have to know. It's a lot of information of what you do and what you don't do.
I
So
mean, yeah,
I,
I just learned something like, oh
yeah,
my God, I didn't even
but
think
there's just
about that.
totally. And again, that I get that a lot. I didn't think about that. As stylists, we have to hair extensions are a luxury service.
Mhm.
They need to know how to take care of them. So
Yeah.
I have a free maintenance sheet that hair extension hairstylists can download and they can either print it out or they could just email it to their client of a maintenance on how they what they do and don't do. So they're not texting you every 2 weeks and say, "Hey, I got these 3 extensions stuck together. What happened?" Well, remember when it said don't air dry, or remember when it said don't flip your head upside down and diffuse it? It said don't do that, and you've been doing that for 4 days. That's why you have to. So we can't get upset if clients are. You want your extension clients to be long-term clients. The only way they're going to be long-term clients is if they keep that natural hair on their head. You have to teach them how to do that, and it's really important to me. And I think every stylist that is servicing clients with extensions should be giving them something to take home via digitally or print out when they leave for their maintenance. So I have that as a gift to the industry from me. I also
that.
have one of the biggest questions that I get in my inbox is,
Mhm.
where'd you get that textured hair?
Oh.
All the time. I have probably dove really deep into just trying textured hair, I would say at this point over the past 8 or 9 years,
Mm.
and trying them in different methods and seeing what works and what doesn't work. And getting good quality hair is kind of like kissing a frog. You have to try companies before you realize who's has a good source of hair. I've done that, especially since COVID. I've really invested in a lot of brands online. So I have a texture hair distributor list that is also available in my link tree. It's 5 US based companies. So these companies are all in the United States. You could probably find every texture, every color, every length, and every method from one of these companies. So that is also available in my for purchase in my link tree. Yeah. And you're also available. I also have an option for you. I've had people that say, look, I've taken 5 extension companies. I don't need a class, but I got 20 questions I need to pick your brain. I also have people available to book a one-on-one call with me just so they can sit
Yeah.
down and talk out and ask all these questions, especially like I said, being in a suite, you know, you don't always have somebody there. I always say I am not a colorist. I don't classify myself as colorist. I can get your grays covered and I can make sure that you're even roots to end. You come into me wanting to go from jet black to ombre, I'm probably or a platinum. I'm probably sending you to somebody else because I just know my level. You know what I mean? I'm not
Mm.
in a salon anymore where I can just be like, oh my God, let me do that. And then we all have a powwow in the back. You know how we do.
Right. I do.
We're
I
like, what do
do.
we all want to do with the client in the third seat? Because I don't know. I don't have that anymore. So I have to be real with what my limits are and what I can't do. I cover gray and that's about it. But knowing what you can and can't do, you almost have to hone into that even more in a suite, because you might not have that person that you can just say, should I add ash or should I add gold? What should I do? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So with that being said, do you have like a network of stylists of people that you like refer out, and do they refer back to you?
100%. Now here's the thing. Does everybody refer back to me? No.
Mm.
But I am booked. So the universe gives me the clients back. You know
Right.
what I mean? So that
Yeah.
I'm not worried about. And I'm not really concerned about who doesn't refer back to me. I decided to be a service provider to my community. So
Mm.
clients have, excuse me, I'm sorry, I've had clients come into my salon. So I used to, and I, every now and then, it's probably the first time I have done in 20 years, I wear a short pixie blonde haircut. Do you know how many women have booked me and said, I love your hair? I want that. And I say, I don't do that. I go to a color specialist, and her name is Jamie, and she's at Suite 307, and she does my hair. I have several people, I mean, I have maybe 2 people that I share with my colorist that does my hair because they do my hair. And this lady is a platinum blonde, and her natural, and she gets a double process, and her natural is this big. I'm going to break it off, or it's going to be a yellow root. I know what I can do. And as stylists, clients want experts nowadays. If you haven't
Yes.
noticed, will rather have somebody cuts their hair, somebody cuts their hair, and somebody colors their hair, and somebody does extensions, than go to one person and only like one of those services, because they value what they're paying for right now. So I want you to get the best result. These pictures are serious. These Instagram pictures are out here, and I want my extensions to look perfect. So if I feel like it's someone that can do it better, absolutely. I have a girl next to me that does dreadlocks. I have, you know what I mean?
That's so good.
There's a girl in there that's called the Lady Barber. I refer her to people. Watch when she's gonna get a whole bunch of followers when you follow, when you watch this. She's like, I wonder where that was from. Somebody randomly mentioned your name. You know what I mean? But that's what happens. You know what I mean? It's about who's mentioning your name when you're not around. And I love her. So yeah, I think that that's important for everybody to have we need to have a roster of people, even if it comes down to you being sick. We are humans. Our
Right.
clients, what if something, God forbid, knock on wood, happens where you're out of work for 2 or 3 weeks? Find someone who you trust, who you know is just going to cover your clients and send them back to you. Now, some of them might stay and some of them might not. We all know that's up to the client. But you know, there's somebody who's not intentionally trying to sabotage you, but you have a person that your clients can go to, especially in a suite area, suite environment, in a salon. That's easily, you almost don't even have a choice. They call your client, they're like, so and so's out, Mary's out, we got Judy for you. The client doesn't even have a choice. In a suite, I'm out. All right, well, I can see you in 2 weeks. No, she got somewhere to go. So we
Right.
all should have a roster of, you should have I think you should have a lash girl. You should have an esthetician. How are we all not having someone that we're like, yeah, you should go to her. She's great. But at the
Oh,
same time, I also think it's important that maybe you should go to her, have her
mm,
service done by her. You know what I mean? Or at least know someone really close that does a lot of people that you know.
amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Okay. What?
I think the biggest thing that we've learned over the past couple years is collaboration
Yeah.
over competition, man. You're not
Over.
really,
Oh my God. Yes.
everybody has something that they do better than somebody else. I don't need to necessarily learn what you do and get as good as you,
Mhm.
because I'm good at this. So why don't you give me this? I'll give you this and we can go back and forth.
Yeah, for sure. It's a power of all of our strengths, you know?
Yeah.
I love that. So we're wrapping up, but before we do, what is something that I ask every all of my guests these two questions?
Mhm.
The first question is, what is something that, being in the industry for a long time, you just pick up on certain things about people? Like you just learn about people in a certain way, and you just wish that everybody else who's not in the industry would just know about somebody. Okay.
Hmm.
What is that thing that you have learned that you wish doctors and lawyers and mailmen would understand about people?
That is, oh my God, that you went way to the floor on that one. I'm like, I don't know. That's such a deep question. I'm like, can I answer the second one and come back to that? I'm like, not really sure. What do I think that everyone needs? Just working with my experience and working with people and in the community.
Yeah.
Um, I think that people just want to be valued.
Mhm.
I think that being chosen is a privilege
Mm,
as a service provider. You are not the
mm.
only ones. Now, again, talking, I can't say that talking for post office people, but talking for even
Sure.
for doctors and
Yeah.
for anyone that I can choose. If I gotta Google, I need this done. I need my knee replaced. I need a car fixed. I need
Mhm.
my dreads done. Um, People want value for their dollar.
Yeah.
So taking the time to listen to them,
Mm.
listen to their needs. A lot of people don't realize what they're saying. Um, they'll say something in their consultation and then they'll say something the opposite of what they want. And
Yeah.
I'm always like, the first thing you said to me was X. And then they look at me and I said, isn't that not helping you get to what you said you want it to look like?
Mm.
If you're doing X, that's not a part of your lifestyle. Doing these type of extensions is going to help you, you know what I mean, is going to hinder that. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I think that we need to explain to them and not always just give people what they want. But people want to feel heard. People want to feel valued, especially nowadays, with everything being so expensive and waiting list and things of that nature. I think people just really want to feel valued. They want to know that they are coming to you for your expertise. And sometimes servicing them is not giving them what they want, telling them what
Mm.
is best for them. And you came to me because you have my expertise in mind. You don't have to take my advice, but you came to me because most people are not just going on your Instagram. They're going into a funnel of looking to see that you know your shit before they come into you.
Yes.
So
Yes.
giving them the value for the dollar they spend, I think keeps somebody coming back to you.
I love
It
that.
doesn't have to be perfect. I
Mm.
don't think the service has to be perfect, but they have to feel like it has to, that you value them. I
Mhm.
think that's more important. right? Especially right now
Yeah.
in the world that we live in, where we're all looking down on our phones, not engaging. Um, that's what we want. We want genuine value.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And then the second question is, what's a question that I have not asked you that you wish I did, and how would you have answered?
I think you did pretty good here, girl. We were we went some spaces that I didn't expect, even in the beginning. Um, and then we kind of went all around the career. Um, Girl, why are you going so hard on these questions? Is it bad that I can't answer that because you did such an amazing?
No, no, it's not bad. That means it's good.
Like I can't think of anything that we didn't really touch. You know what I
I
mean?
love
As
it.
far as personal, as far as my history, as far as my family, as far as why I have the beliefs I have, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And why I allow people to have their beliefs they have and how that's
Yeah.
benefited me. No, no, I feel like I just did a mini bio, like a mini, I just released a mini book.
I
You
love
remember how you
that.
said those mini composition books, notebooks?
Yes.
Gave you
Yes.
my next form.
I love it. Oh, that makes me feel so good. That's like the whole
I think you covered
objective, you know?
everything.
Like share your story, tell inspire listeners like this is where I came from, this is what I've done, this is what I'm doing, this is
Mhm.
where I'm going. Like that's like the whole point of the Beauty Pro podcast, you know?
Yeah.
So that
I
makes me
think
feel
it's
good.
really important to speak out what you want
Mm-hmm.
into your existence. I think for some when I was a little girl, for some reason I used to hear somebody say, "Don't talk about that, you'll block your blessing." And I don't know if
Ooh.
that was some type of old,
Ooh.
Baptist belief of don't talk about that, you'll block your blessing. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not seeing anything I want come to fruition. How about you start saying it out loud? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even if it feels silly, even if it feels stupid, you're standing in a mirror and brushing your teeth, just say what you want. You know what I mean? And one of
Mm.
the things that I've been saying all this for the last year is that my name is on products, properties, and panels. I just
Ooh.
let out my second product. I released my first product, which is just a hair wax stick, which helps you to blend your hair extensions into your hair. You know how some people have that blend line where it's like, oh,
Yes.
it's almost like an eraser and it takes away that hair blind stick, but I also have a leave-in conditioner now. So I just got my second product. Um, I have a bunch of panels that I've been invited to be on, which I'm really excited about.
So
I was like,
exciting.
so my house coming what, 2024, first quarter or second quarter? Let me know. But I'm just speaking it out. So I think that
Yeah.
that's the thing that we have to do as humans is to stop doubting ourselves. And even if it still feels silly, say it and say it over
Mhm.
and over again. And eventually it doesn't feel silly. And then you're like, wait a minute, you start to see it and it starts to
Yeah.
come to fruition. And next thing you know, you get opportunities and it's here.
I love it. I love that. Oh, I love that. I'm already like, I'm like thinking of what I'm going to be saying when I'm brushing my teeth now. That's
Yeah,
great.
seriously, seriously.
All right. Well, Tawana, that is a wrap for today. Thank
Oh,
you for coming on. I
thank you for
thoroughly
having
enjoyed this. I know our listeners are going to be loving this. Um, where can people connect with you and like send questions to you and take classes? Where can they go?
So my main website is towannadunhair.com. But I am the same on most platforms on Instagram and TikTok. I'm sorry. On Instagram, I'm Towanna Dunn Hair.
Mhm.
I think Towanna Dunn Hair Stylist. And same thing on Facebook, but I have two different pages on Facebook. So I also have an educational page. So
Oh,
if you
okay.
type in Towanna Dunn Hair on Facebook, you're gonna get an option for two pages. It's gonna be either a page that I usually have for my salon and a page for my education. I'm just diving into TikTok, so I'm pretty sure if you pull up Towanna Dunn, it's gonna come up there, and my maiden name might be there because I think it was a personal page I just made business.
It's
One of
okay.
those things like, well, they say we have to be everywhere, so let me just go on over there, and next thing you know, it's like all hair. So I just kind of left it that way. But I'm on all the things. I'm on LinkedIn as well under Towanna Dunn. I do a lot of talking about education and ways to I've grown my business and have been successful for me on LinkedIn. So I try to talk to the people that are where they are. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
love that.
Sometimes
Yeah.
with the overrun and overburn of Instagram or social media. We can just kind of copy and paste certain things. I try to talk to the people where they are so you can get a little bit of a different context. But I'm also always available on DM. My link tree is full of a bunch of different options that I have where you could click on to get the free maintenance guide. You can click on to get the textured hair list, the ebook. You could click on to book a salon class or a one-on-one class, either virtual or in person. I could be flown out to y'all and just stay in houses. I can be flown out now and to jump on a plane. But all of that information is in there. And just stay tuned and wait for Hair Extension University, which is going to be coming digital soon.
I love it. We're going to have all of those links in the show notes. So, Towanna, thank you again. That's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you for listening, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.